The POCO F2 Pro is powerful, according to POCO, powerfully cool anyway. This is actually in relation to the cooling system that they have in the phone, which apparently, according to them, is liquid cooling. That's what they said in their post anyway. So the official launch is tomorrow, the 12th of May, 2 p.m. Spanish time, or in the evening if you live in Asia. And actually, does this post hint that we're not just getting a rebranded K30 Pro, but actually something slightly different? The K30 Pro didn't have anything that they called liquid cooling. No, I think it's just a rebrand or maybe a different sort of name that they're giving the phone. But the Redmi K30 Pro has a very large heatsink that they have in the phone. One of the largest heatsinks in any phone. And inside is a gel material, so it may be that POCO are just renaming it, calling it something slightly different. The K30 Pro anyway, with that very large heatsink, does perform pretty well actually in terms of heating up compared to other phones like the Mi 10 Pro or the OnePlus 8 Pro. In a lot of tests that I've run, CPU and battery heat actually does fare pretty well against those phones, but it's not a huge difference. It's maybe 1 degree or so. So I don't think it makes a massive difference to how you use the phone. And I don't think there's going to be a huge throttling of the processor difference between other phones, but hey, it is there, and from what I can tell, it does help a little bit. The European price is going to be expensive. It's going to be more expensive than the K30 Pro, and if the K30 Pro comes to other countries, especially India, it's probably going to be cheaper there too. So we can take the POCO F2 Pro as a guide, but it's probably going to be more expensive than in most other regions because phones in Europe just are more expensive generally. And also launched today in China was the Redmi K30 Speed Edition. This is part of the same family of phones. So the K30 Pro using the Snapdragon 865. Redmi were one of the first, if not the first, to use the brand new mid-range chipset from Snapdragon, the 765G. It's a slightly bumped up version of their mid-range chipsets and it has 5G integrated. Well, we have a new one and it's the 768G, and Redmi are the first to give us a phone with this chipset. So the 768G from Snapdragon, which you're going to see in a lot more phones coming up in the near future, is an overclocked version of the 765G, where the GPU is about 15% better or more powerful than the other chipset. The thing is though, the Snapdragon 765G, it's a mid-range chipset and it can't play games on the highest settings. A small overclocking of the GPU into the 768G may not fix that either, so there may actually not be a huge amount of difference between the two chipsets in real life in terms of playing games. We'll have to wait and see if it can play games on some higher settings, but I doubt it. The phone launches in a couple of days' time, so we'll get our hands on it then. Also in the news today, the Realme X3 Super Zoom. More information on this phone. The zoom capabilities are going to be really good on this phone. Apparently up to 60 times zoom on this phone, and the optical zoom maybe 5 or 6 times with a periscope zoom camera. We're starting to see periscope zoom cameras come down out of the flagship phones and into mid-range phones, which is definitely a good thing. This image shared online by Realme, and it shows some astrophotography, which is going to rely really more on computational photography than a zoom lens, but gives us a good idea anyway. This phone also apparently using a Snapdragon 855 Plus, which I think is a great choice for a processor in a mid-range type of phone this year. It has been replaced by the new 865 flagship processor, but the 855 Plus I think is really powerful enough for most people. It's more affordable now. There's no 5G on there, which to be honest for a lot of people just isn't a concern anyway, so I don't know why more aren't using that processor. It seems like really good value right now. You can get some good value, you don't need 5G, save some money, but still get a powerful chipset. Also in the news, a brand new phone called the Vivo Z1. This is going to be the first phone to use a new chipset. There are a lot of new chipsets right now. So the Dimensity 1000 Plus. This is a new chipset from MediaTek, not the biggest name, and it's going to turn off a lot of people. Some people just like Snapdragon. But this phone is going to be a gaming phone, a powerful phone for a cheaper price. Also, the Dimensity 1000 Plus does look a very powerful chipset, and it's going to give you that power at a cheaper price than any Snapdragon. So definitely an option if you're looking for a more affordable gaming phone with a lot of power and definitely a high refresh rate. So we'll look out for more information on that one. that is it for your tech news today, but do send me a comment. How much do you think the POCO F2 Pro will be going for? What is the price of the base version? Remember, it's Europe, so it will be more expensive, but send me a comment and let me know what price you think it will be going for. Subscribe for all the latest tech news and videos. That's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.